Welcome back to the channel, guys. This week I have been driving the all-new Suzuki Swift. Now, if you don't know, the Swift is actually the best-selling car in South Africa at the moment. They have sold over 2,600 units in January, and all I'm going to say is that I now know why. Okay, so if we hop over to the front of the Swift, the biggest update obviously is the way the car looks. It has a completely new design. The front is different, the grills are different, the headlights are different. Just about every single thing is different. This is called the GLX manual transmission. There is a GLX automatic transmission. I specifically opted for the manual because I prefer the manual. Reason being, the manual is a 5-speed manual where the automatic is a 4-speed auto. So I'm not the biggest fan of the 4-speed auto. That's just my personal preference. I find that it does really make the engine scream a little bit and you do sacrifice a little bit of fuel economy. But the 5-speed manual, the car is actually just so much more fun to drive. I don't know why you wouldn't want the manual. Okay, so if we look at the power plant of the Suzuki Swift, it has also been updated now. Traditionally, it always used to be a 1.2 litre 4-cylinder engine. They've officially kicked out a cylinder out of the block and it's a 3-cylinder. Now, it produces 60 kilowatts and 112 Newton meters of torque. And I never thought I'd ever say this, but it's actually enough. For the size of the car and for the weight of the car, it's actually enough. It's plentiful. Especially if you get the manual version, you're gonna have a lot more fun. Look, I am a driver. I love driving. I'm very enthusiastic about it, whatever the case is. I absolutely love driving this as a manual. Look, I've driven a lot of automatic Suzukis, but the manual I always think is the better way to go. There's a 5-speed manual box. The auto is a 4-speed auto. I just prefer the manual. So if you do get the 5-speed manual, you're gonna find that this engine is actually enough. You're gonna have so much fun. There's not much more you could really ask for. So one of the reasons why Suzuki have kicked out a cylinder, it's actually going to improve your reliability as well as maintenance because there are going to be less moving parts. So we move towards the side of the car. Look, I'm going to be honest, there's not much to talk about. The car has been revised. It is a new car, new design. I actually quite like it a lot. I prefer the front to the back, my personal opinion. But you also do get these beautiful 15-inch alloy wheels. Once again, nice fat sidewall on the tire. It's not a low profile tire. So obviously comfortability is going to be there when you are on your daily drives. So as we move towards the rear of the car, you will find your new tail lights, as the car does have a new design, as I've mentioned 15 million times before already. Sorry guys, it is very much a new Swift. It's a new car, new design, quirky, funky, fresh. Looks really good. I quite like it a lot. But what I will say is you do actually get a boatload of features considering the price of this car. This car is extremely cheap. So you also do get rear park distance control as well as a rear view camera. No 360 cameras, just a reverse camera. I don't find you need 360 cameras. I mean, the car is not actually enormous. So getting in and out of tight spots is really a breeze. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. So for 220,000 Rand, you get quite a lot. So in terms of practicality, if you open the boot or trunk, you'll find that you have 265 liters of boot space, but this can be expanded by folding down the rear seats to 589 liters. Now, in layman's terms, a ton of space. So, and what's nice is it's also pretty deep. So like right here is my camera bag. You can't even see it because it's just laying down flat. But then what's also nice is as you lift the bottom flap up, you will find you do have a spare wheel as well. It is not a full spare wheel. It is known as a space saver, or as we call it in South Africa, a Mari biscuit wheel. So for those of you that are watching and you don't know what a Mari biscuit is, it is a biscuit that is made by a company called Bakers in South Africa. It's a very traditional biscuit that we have with hot beverages like tea or coffee or hot chocolate. It's just really good. It's something I think just about every South African has grown up with, but yes, Mari biscuit wheel. So sitting in the back of the car, I mean, the rear passengers aren't going to be comfortable, definitely. So the driver's seat is in my driving position. I'm also 5'7" for reference. There is plenty of legroom as well as headroom, not to mention that the seats are actually very comfortable as well. And obviously you do have your seat belts. Now, of course, the Swift is extremely safe. It does have a 5-star European NCAP safety rating. So as we hop into the driver's seat now, what you will find firstly, the steering wheel, it's very firm, it feels great. I think this is a bit of a synthetic leather. The steering wheel is also multifunction, so you are able to access certain things like cruise control. So firstly, the fact that this car is this cheap and it has cruise control is pretty great. It doesn't have adaptive cruise control because there is no LiDAR system installed within the car. So you just have your traditional cruise control, which is still good enough. Then you also have your infotainment settings, so your different audio sources, the radio, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto, which this does have. And it is wireless too, which is pretty great. Then you're also able to accept and decline prank calls as well as access certain voice features with the car. If we look over here on the right hand side, you do have a start-stop engine button, but what I find interesting is the fact that it's right over here, right by the door. I haven't seen this before in a car other than a Porsche. So other than that, you are able to turn off your traction control over here. You are able to activate and deactivate your park distance control, as well as the start-stop functionality. Further down, you are able to, of course, open the bonnet, as well as the fuel filler cap. Then in front of me here, we also have the speedometers. Now you have two analog gauges as well as a central digital display. So as well as the driver's seat is actually extremely supportive. It's very comfortable. You don't need lumbar support because it's just that comfortable. And now moving to the infotainment system, it is fully touchscreen and you do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that is actually a big thing, especially for a car like this. Reason being, when I tested the Mercedes-Benz W206 C-Class, the latest edition C-Class, given it was probably about a year and a half to almost 2 years ago, that didn't even have wireless Apple CarPlay. It had a wired Apple CarPlay. So the fact that all of the Suzukis come with it as standard is pretty epic. There is no wireless charger, however, but you do have your USB port as well as a 12-volt socket. Then you move over to your climate control. You of course have AC, you have your demister front and rear, and the sound system in this car is pretty good as well. You're not going to need a lot more than what it offers. You also do get a traditional handbrake, not an e-brake, not an electronic brake. You actually have one of the old school handbrakes. So driving impressions on the new Suzuki Swift. Look, what I will say is that despite the fact that it has a smaller engine in terms of cylinder capacity, it definitely doesn't feel like it lacks. Yes, it is a 1.2 litre naturally aspirated 3-cylinder engine, and I know typically people would cringe. However, it's actually good enough for the car. You don't need a lot more than this. I think a question I definitely do want to ask Suzuki is, are we ever going to be getting a new generation Suzuki Swift Sport? Because I think that will be pretty cool, pretty interesting. I'd love to know what they would do in that case and scenario. However, this car is perfect for what it is, and let's not forget it is the best-selling car in South Africa at the moment. Suzuki sold over 2,600 units in January, and I'm now starting to see why. I mean, at a starting price of 219,000 Rand, you get quite a lot, and typically speaking, cars obviously have become so much more expensive over the years that this does really appeal to just about anybody. I mean, personally speaking, if I needed a runaround car, this would be it. This would genuinely be it. It does everything you need it to do. Fuel consumption is great. I would also get the 5-speed manual. It's just a preference. I do prefer over the 5-speed manual over the 4-speed auto, but the car does have plenty power. The 60 kilowatts and 112 Newton meters is more than enough to propel the car along. You don't really have to struggle or anything like that. The car is extremely comfortable to drive. Sound and insulation isn't too bad, although what I will say is, of course, when you do put your foot down a bit and try and get up a hill or whatever the case is, you do hear quite a lot of engine noise. Perhaps the insulation from the firewall through to the cabin is not perhaps the best. However, it is a budget car, and it is actually the best budget car in the country. So in light of being cheap and cheerful, they have absolutely hit the nail on the head. And although it's cheap and cheerful, it's actually a pretty damn good cheap and cheerful car. I've driven worse cars that cost more money. So what I will definitely say is well done to Suzuki. I really think they have outdone themselves in every single way possible. I just genuinely cannot wait to see what else they have in store for us. So guys, if you like this video, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't just watch it and don't bloody do it, please do it. It really does go a long way. So guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends and family. I'm not just saying that. It does help me get invited to certain events as well as get certain press cars. For example, yesterday, I was at the unveiling of the new Lamborghini Temerario, and that's quite a big deal. So definitely, please do not forget to like and subscribe. I do appreciate all of the help and support. But as usual, keep well and chat soon.